Good morning. I'm Itumeleng from WNL Training Academy, and today's podcast is about learner to leadership. And we're here with Chantyl. She's such an amazing leader. She's the CEO of Marketplace Academy and also one of the board members of WNL Training Academy. And let's not forget that she's one of the most amazing people that work closely with schools and help them out where she can, and also just help young people inspire to be leaders in their own lives. So we're just going to ask her a few questions, and she will tell us her experiences and everything that she learned so that she can share with us so that we can also go into our own lives and step into being a leader. Shanta, how are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. So let's just jump into some of the questions that I have. So what I want to talk about is from a learner to being a leader, because some of us are still in that mindset that we need to wait until we grow up, right, before we become leaders. And really, in this day and age where we don't really have to wait to become a leader, we can start in our own circle, in our own lives. But how do we even approach that? How do we even look at it in that direction?
My experience, the majority of my experience is at post-schooling.
Yes.
The bit I've now been doing, I'm involved with schools. Marketplace Academy is involved with 9 schools. And we're involved with schools in the townships.
Yes.
Now, there, when you start looking at the learners and really at grassroots level, it's very difficult for the learners to even think of leadership skills.
Sure.
If you look at the environment where they come from. The learners are just battling to eke out a living. They come from families which are extremely dysfunctional. In our schools we work in, 85% of the children come from single parents who could be a granny, a grandpa, it could be most of the times it's a granny or a mommy who looks after the children. And then 10% of them are child-headed households. So I don't think that it will happen naturally because there's so many other socio-economic issues you've got to sort out. What we are seeing, and through some of the programs we are working with, you've got to have the learners to believe in themselves and to have enough self-confidence.
Yes.
Because most of them don't believe in themselves, don't believe they've got any worth, they believe they're going to become like everybody else in the community. The complete breakdown, social breakdown in the communities. And we trying to say, no, there is something else. And in the schools we work with, we are already seeing the little lights coming up. Now, leadership for me, even at a school level, and as you grow up, begins with you.
Yes.
How can you lead anybody if you can't lead yourself? You can't take responsibility. You can't take accountability. You don't study, because it seems to me in schools now it's not cool to study. It's cool to sit and smoke all this vamping, all things that the kids are doing at the moment.
Yes.
So one's got to get youngsters out of this mindset and for them to understand, listen, you don't want to be mediocre. You want to be excellent. And leadership for me starts within you. You've got to be able to lead yourself to make the right choices, to do the right things, and to live an exemplary life. I mean, it's for me nonsense that you think that you've got to take responsibility while you're at school. You've got to study hard. You've got to get your grades up. You've got to do all the right things. And that's where leadership starts. Yourself. Leading by an example. Because you don't want to be a follower. You want everybody else to follow you. Even if you come from a poor community. And there are youngsters like that. We're seeing it in the communities we're working who are stepping up.
Yes.
We're seeing it in our entrepreneurship project we're running. What we have realized is I don't think there's enough opportunities given to township children to actually believe in themselves, to develop themselves, and take their first leadership roles where they lead their own lives to start off. That's what I'm a firm believer of that.
Okay. And then I also heard, like you just said right now, the programs that you offer them, like your entrepreneurship program that they step into their own lights and stuff. How do someone access that if they want to say, hey, I'm trying to change my life and I want to step into this?
So the interesting thing is that I love the SDGs where we say equal opportunities.
Yes.
So we create equal opportunities for everybody. And then you say, listen, I'm giving you a chance. Come and show me.
Yes.
And what we're seeing at the schools, because we work with the grade 8 and 9s, because you can never work with youngsters young enough. Because I don't know where the notion is that our children, they don't know.
Yeah.
They do know. Let me tell you, they know a lot more than a lot of adults do. But they're marginalized. They're not given opportunities.
Yes.
Now, in the schools we work with, we cannot believe what the youngsters are coming up with. You cannot believe their thought processes because we're guiding it. We're helping them. And then you do find the youngsters, they step up to the plate. They're on the stage. They present PowerPoint presentations. Their views are clear.
Yes.
They just need to be harnessed, given an opportunity, and a different way of educating learners, which becomes learner-centered and not teacher-centered, where they say, man, you're a child, just listen to me, I'm the teacher.
Okay.
Not true, because teachers don't always know.
That's true.
Yeah, as adults, we don't always know. We often speak about these skills. We've got to listen, but I don't think we listen enough to the youth in the country.
Yes.
Because there's an enormous talent, enormous, and it just needs to be harnessed in the right direction.
And once you guys harness the talents that they have, then you can help them improve and grow
To develop, yes.
into their own skills, and so they can also become what they want in their lives.
And you start off with leadership of your own life.
Okay.
You can't lead other people if you can't control yourself.
Yes.
You can't lead other people if you can't lead yourself in all aspects. Because I find that for me personally, there's a tremendous lack of discipline and accountability. And if you want to get anywhere in life, discipline and hard work, it's not handed to you on a plate.
It's not.
And I've never seen any child where it's been handed to on a plate. It's children who decide they've got that gumption in them. I want to succeed despite my circumstances.
Yes.
And those are the pearls and the diamonds you can see, they're there. But they just need to be harnessed and worked with. Leadership is a strange concept. Everybody, I want to be a leader.
Yes.
No. You can go and have a look at your CEOs of your major listed companies or your CEOs of people. You've got to be a visionary leader and a serving leader.
Yes.
And there's few of those.
That's true.
If you're a leader, everybody wants to be served. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've done?
Yeah.
It doesn't last. It's about, and we often speak about it because we say, yes, servant leadership in the church. No. Servant leadership is the way you lead teams, the way you get teams working together, because you are not sitting outside on a day when it's busy, deciding, when they're done, I'll come in. You are on the ground working with your team, making sure things work. And that's what it's about. Taking those roles starts with yourself, then in groups and in teams. And those people stand out. They do.
Okay. You also mentioned parents, teachers not always knowing how to harness the gift because they're telling them, or they're stuck in that old...
No, they're stuck in the old mold.
Yeah.
Yes, we're seeing it at schools because even at university,
Yes.
board, chalk. Now it's smart boards. Sit down, listen. Interactive learning and leadership takes place when you invite your learners and you invite people. What are your views? Do you have a comment on this particular topic? And we're seeing it in mathematics. We were training our educators, and the educators are dead quiet and they don't.
No.
Everybody's too scared. So the last time we turned it around and we invited all our maths teachers to present. It was brilliant, and you could see the clear people who've taken responsibility and accountability stepping up for what they're doing. That has an effect on the learners and the way in which they've organized the youngsters in the schools now too.
Yeah.
They give the learners an opportunity to run with the tutorials, which is the right way. Because you just make them so much better and they get more confidence in the process. It's about changing our style of learning and letting learners take responsibility and accountability to assist. And they develop such valuable skills you have no idea, which you won't develop anywhere else.
Really?
But if you only keep them in a class and you say, I'm going to now control all of you,
It doesn't work, because some learners don't learn like that. They learn by actively doing it. That's how they observe
exactly.
information. And then once you invite them into the conversation, even if they don't know something, you can quickly see it and help where the need is, instead of trying to control each and every learner
Exactly.
in that classroom and telling them this is how you're supposed to do it, and you don't normally grasp it.
We've got to change our whole learning and teaching methodology to
Yes.
a learner-centered approach.
Mm.
And it's very different. And people battle to, we're introducing project-based learning in our schools now,
Yeah.
where learners take responsibility and the educators guide. And let me tell you, you cannot believe how that develops all the other talents that we're seeing. There's nothing wrong with our children. Nothing. A lot wrong with the way in which we educate and we grow our pipeline towards becoming something in life.
So things have changed in that aspect.
Well, it hasn't changed. It's only we're trying to change it, and everybody's latching onto it. But it's got to be inculcated in everything in schools. And Gauteng Department of Education is trying to change it and say we're going to implement project-based learning.
Which can't be an easy thing.
No, and you're not going to be able to do it in all the schools
No.
because it depends on the principal and the SMTs. And then, of course, you've got a major problem with people that don't like change. Most people don't like change.
That's true.
So, we like to do, I prepared this lesson 15 years ago. I'm going to come and give it because not much has changed in the maths curriculum or the accounting or this or that.
But then,
So I've prepared it, and today I don't do any work. I go to the class and I say, sit down, this is how it is. When you have a learner-centered approach and you're developing the other skills, your soft skills,
Yes.
your skills of the 21st century, which is learner-centered approach, it takes a lot more effort and time. And people are lazy. We're inherently extremely lazy. We don't want to put in the extra effort.
but the moment you put in the extra effort, the learner gets it. And they also start realizing that there's so much potential in them. They start understanding that I can actually do this.
Exactly.
Right? I just need someone to guide me, not control
No.
what I'm thinking. Because I feel like times have changed.
They
It
have.
really has. We're more focused on social media and stuff. I'm not going to lie. I'm also there, right? But instead of me sitting on TikTok or something, I can do something with it or start my own teaching methods, what I know shared online and stuff like that, and maybe can help someone or help me understand the material better.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because if you can have a look at the skill sets of the 21st century that's required, it's creativity,
it is.
which you don't get a chance. You think of creativity, it's problem solving, it's critical thinking, it's communication. And it's not a thing you get out of a book.
No.
It's that what you get outside of the book and the way you thought and your thought process is the way it's developed at a school level. Because those are the skill sets which business are going to be needing.
Sure.
And of course, if you think of AI now, artificial intelligence, oh please, you can get anything to write, anything to look it up. I mean, it's marvelous.
It is.
But you need the human aspect to do all those soft skills that you need to add. And that's not necessarily developed in our current teaching and learning methodologies. And
So-
I think leadership is something that comes out of all of that when you have these skills.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know how to work with other people.
That's so
They
true.
say, I'm the boss. You listen.
And it doesn't work that way because then you're blocking and
Creativity.
and at the same time it could be beneficial for you instead of that person
Exactly.
because they can take the ideas somewhere
can learn.
else.
But you can learn. If you think you know everything,
You will never learn
I
or
mean,
never grow.
ask me at my age. I mean, I'm learning new things every day.
Yeah.
And the children, nothing wrong with the children. Everything wrong with us and the way we guide them and work with them at the school level. And the reason, it's just society, the way things have happened, you know, how we do things. And again, and I'm going to come back to one fundamental principle.
Yes.
Leadership starts with you.
with yourself.
You can't lead other people if you can't sort yourself out.
So you need to sort yourself out before you start leading other
Yes.
people.
Sort yourself out.
Yes.
Get your head, your
In
mind
the game.
right. Yes, get your head and your mind in the game. And it's about, I've got to make a success of myself. I've got to lead myself into success. And you're not going to do that if you don't have morals, integrity, values. You don't have principles by which you stand, and you're not prepared to work hard. You jipper the system,
And it doesn't work like that, because it will end up catching up with you in the end.
Let me tell you, you might think you're very clever, but at the end of the day, it comes back to fundamental principles which have never changed over all the years.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Like, I learned so much and what's happening in schools right now, because I have a younger brother and he's like really into his games and stuff. But then what you're saying is like, I can switch up his games into something that he can learn. Or
I think the advent of computers and all this technology is marvelous.
yes,
But anybody will tell you, unless he's not doing coding and robotics, I'm not interested in his gaming. Because
Yeah.
if he does coding, and you don't even need a computer to do coding, you start thinking and you problem solve. And it's also games.
yeah,
Because it's going to teach you skill sets. And that's where we've got to guide our children. They've got to do things with a long-term view in mind.
not a short-term view.
The problem with all of us is everything is, it's like quick foods, fast foods. Everything is fast this, fast that, fast. No. Some of these things take a while.
time to go.
And I've got a little grandson now, and I'm damned if he's going to play all these games. He's going to play outside. He's going to develop himself properly. He's going to be a leader
in himself. Yeah.
And if you don't guide him as a parent, because they could sit on the games forever and they develop no social skills. They can't even spell and read and write.
But then if you change it, then he can start designing his own games.
Yes.
For himself and become
Problem
a leader.
solving, leaders. And as I say, you've got to control yourself
Before you start
before
leading.
you think you can lead anybody else.
Wow.
And that's the problem. Most of our people can't control themselves.
They do whatever they want to do.
Exactly. And they don't understand that everybody is under authority.
Yes.
And a leader knows you're under authority. It doesn't matter where you are. In my entire life, where I was in my position at Psycho, I served on board. You are under authority.
Yeah.
And we don't like that. Because
we want to feel important. Instead of
starts
us
with you.
humbling ourselves and say, hey,
Exactly.
this is the issue. And I have an amazing team here to help me out. Let me work with them. Get my hands dirty. Let us solve it together. Let us build something.
Lead you. That's where it starts.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Only a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So you heard it for yourself. Before you start being a leader, lead yourself. Understand where you're coming from. Change your perspective. Change whatever you want so that you can become a leader and help other people. It starts with yourself before you go telling other people what to do, when to do it, or however to do it. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Please like and share. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.